Welcome to the Put On Waivers Media Group, home of the Put On Raiders podcast and the Student Body Right podcast. This is your place for the best breakdowns and the best insight for those who fight on and bleed silver and black. Now, here are your hosts, Dwayne Douglas and Ryan Holmes.
Welcome, everybody, to another glorious episode of the Student Body Right USC podcast. It was a glorious Saturday out there in Los Angeles. It was 155 degrees, but a lot of the fans, USC fans, have been waiting a long time for something to actually cheer about, a solid direction. To the feeling that maybe this year they might be outside of that playoff spot, but they're going in that direction where they're going to be a perennial playoff team year in, year out. Kind of got that feeling when I was at the Coliseum this weekend. So USC destroys Rice, and it's just flat out just great to see them actually destroy a bad opponent. You're playing a bad opponent. I swear if Clay Helton was there, they would have won that game 28-21 with Rice having the ball, trying to go into for the tying score. That's the kind of Clay Helton stuff that you would see. But with USC under Lincoln Riley, you saw what you should see, out and out ass whooping, and that's what you should do to bad teams. I mean, Rice is there for the check. Rice is there to get paid and go home, go back to Texas, and USC did that. So I want to talk about, first of all, this is Student Body Right USC podcast. This channel is USC football and Las Vegas Raiders. So the Raiders start this week against the Chargers. So make sure you check out myself and Ryan Holmes for that. And right now, USC fans, stay locked in to the podcast. So this was I lived on the East Coast for a long period of time. So this is the first time I was ever, I've always seen the Coliseum with the Trojans. I've always seen the Coliseum with the Raiders on TV. Never really got a chance to see that place live and in person. And it's older. It's a historic building. Olympics have been there. Great football games have been played there. I believe the MLB back in the day, MLB used to have their All-Star game there, and Dodgers played there before too, and in front of like 90,000 people, stuff like that. So my impressions of it was, first of all, getting in and out of a stadium is absolutely imperative to the fan experience. Got off the highway, a little bit of a little bit of a traffic, a little bit of stuck in traffic off the highway, but in and out was easy. If you ever go to if you go to Coliseum for the first time, don't go to the first parking spot because they try to charge you like $80 to $100. You can just take a left down Figueroa. You'll find a spot. $40, $20, a little bit more reasonable. And it's a legit parking spot, not somebody's house. So that was cool. The fan experience, just walking through the tailgate. People just were, nice, gracious, all that stuff like that. And you could tell that the energy was back in with USC because people were just tired of losing. And they see that, this team is going in the right direction. So good job as far as that goes. And to all the fans who braved the elements, because we talked about elements a lot in sports. The heat was brutal. I mean, it was pretty hot. If you had a seat in the shade, you were a lucky person. So I didn't see anybody get carted off with heat stroke or nothing like that. But good job of staying hydrated. Out here they deal with a lot of water fountains. Unless you want to pay for that $10 water, $15, $20 water. I mean, we could talk about that a little bit. Y'all could lower the prices on the water, especially on a day like that. But clean atmosphere. As far as people, clean as far as the floors, bathrooms, all that stuff like that. So cool experience for me out there in Southern California, living here now, and then having a chance to go to the Coliseum for the first time. So let's get back to the game. So in the first part of this ball game, I was just saying to myself, that old line from Dennis Green, they are what we thought they were. And as far as offensively goes, I thought USC was going to be, I think they're going to be a juggernaut, really tough team to deal with. in in the in a way that they can score from so many different ways. They can pass the ball, they can run the football, they can spread you out, they can go no huddle, they can use power up front. Those are those that's this whole dynamic that they can do all these different things makes it very difficult for that for I mean very difficult for even some of the top teams in the league in the Pac-12 or in all college football to defend them. I mean, it's really that simple. So let's start off with kind of the running attack first. I thought Austin Jones did a really good job running inside. They have that thing with with Jones and Travis Dye where they can just pound you inside. And then when they want to run sweeps, they want to run something to the outside. They can do end arounds to Mario Williams, who also is a guy who definitely can get to the edge and get to the corner. And Malik Brown had that first touchdown, got a little bit of a stiff arm to get away from that defender, and then you could just see it. I was yelling in the stands that the defensive lineman was too slow. I said, "You too slow, you too slow." Malik had that corner, and I think he's going to be a dynamic piece of what they want to do offensively as well. And I think it'd be cool to see him get involved in the screen game too. Like if you get Malik Brown in the screen game, ooh, that's gonna be tough for people to defend because he can't catch the ball. Did in high school, can't catch the ball out of the backfield. So I do like what I saw. What I saw from them offensively in this game. I'll kind of break down Caleb Williams in a little bit, but the weapons offensively, you kind of had to have with all the controversy and all the people belly aching from Pittsburgh about Jordan Addison. You kind of had to have the first touchdown be to Jordan Addison. So nice whip route. I'll kind of show that on Twitter. RTPW podcast is a Twitter handle. You should see it right below me. But his ability to fake the slant, come back outside wide open, and then they had a little end around you know motion play where he was almost behind the line of scrimmage and led to another touchdown. Good red zone efficiency by USC here in this game. Show some creativity there as well. So it wasn't like just overmatching the opponent. Rice did make him work for it as much as you can. Defensively, they're not going to be able to stop USC. They're not going to be able to hang with USC, but they were able to do those things and kind of make them kind of go the length of the field a couple of times in the first half. But for the most part, USC really dominated this game. I think a lot of times home teams in the NFL, home teams in college football, really kind of break things open in the third quarter, and I think that's where USC really kind of broke things open in the third quarter here. Defensively. So defensively, we know that that's going to be where Alex Grinch is going to have to kind of take the bull by the horns here because everybody's going to be looking at SC, and it's almost like, oh yeah, they score a touchdown. Jordan Addison, Mario Williams, Tajay Washington had 4 catches for 60 yards. We know about them. We know about those guys already. The question is, can they stop people? And I don't think that question. It's gonna sound people are gonna say I'm being pessimistic, but I don't know if that question was answered yet. I thought they did a good job taking the ball away. Like that is absolutely you cannot you can't talk about that more than anything else. I didn't like some of the not being able to get off the field on third down early in the game. I thought they could have kind of in the first quarter like, hey, let's get off the field, let's get off the field. They weren't able to get off the field in some of these moments, so that made me worried a little bit. And I do think that they do have there is a thing here where when teams will line up in power, they get in those heavy sets. And a lot of teams, it's a spread game now, so teams don't usually do. Teams don't really do this a lot, but that's where I worry about USC. Do they have the D tackle strength? Do they have the penetration on the edges to stop the run when somebody wants to line up and run the football down their throat. And the here's the problem with that is if you get a holding call, if you get a holding call, if you get an issue on the offensive line, somebody misses a block or something like that on an inside run or in a running game period, then yeah, that's gonna be a problem because you can't run the football all day without trying to pass it. I mean, that's not gonna work either. But tie football game down the stretch at Utah, or can they stop the run? I mean, that's gonna be the biggest thing. I mean, that's gonna be the biggest thing. No big injuries in this ball game for them. Looks like they came away clean with injuries, because the depth on the defensive side, we can't have the USC glasses on here. Like that's where you just don't want Sean Lee to go down. I think Eric Gentry, who like that must be one of the tallest linebackers I've ever seen in my life. That guy is just he looks enormous. He's very skinny, very slight. Definitely needs to bulk up just a little bit for the next level, but he moves great. A great job on a half sack getting when they use him as a blitzer. You saw Alex Grinch after that when they went back to pass was just like, hey, I'm not gonna sit there and allow this team to keep getting these little dink and dunk first downs. I'm gonna just go after him, and then that's when you saw the pressure start coming. That's when you started seeing the sacks start coming. So I thought defensively they really did a good job of kind of breaking this game open. And did I mention? I didn't even mention them, but they had I think it was three consecutive um pick sixes in this game. They have four picks total in this ball game. So some of those were kind of off receivers' hands, popped up in the air. So when you're playing a better team, that's probably a first down, not a touchdown for your defense, but still you'll take them. I think turnovers in the NFL, turnovers in high school football, turnovers in college football, those things can be um, infectious. Once you start getting them, then you start getting them all the time. You start getting them in critical moments. So that's one of the things that I think I thought I like from Alex Rich's team. You want to get turnovers. You're playing a bad opponent. I mean, Rice is going to win 3 games this year. You don't want to win, but you don't want to be on the end of that 3 game situation and have them beat you. But great job by them. Kind of just take the game over. Like it was nice to see a defense from USC take a game over, even if it is against a bad team. Take the game over. I mean, you're better than Rice. You have better athletes. You have all those things. I think the worry thing about this week is you're playing probably a better version of Rice this week, right? You're playing a better version of Rice this week in Stanford. Like Stanford wants to line up and run the football, smash it. They want to get the ball to the tight ends. They want to just kind of milk the clock and all those things like that. Good little test here on the road. I mean, you obviously had the home opener. You had all the the Boulevard collective and NIL collective out there for UCLA. Done a great job with the airlines and flying. Some of the things about playing on the West Coast is like, hey, they might lose a recruit back in the day because I like USC, but I'm from the South. I don't. My family can't make it out to the games. So the Boulevard is that collective that is taking they're taking family members of USC Trojan players to the game so they can see that experience, so they can see their kids play live, and it's been good. I mean, Shane Lee just tweeted out today that he was thankful for the Boulevard and their collective for doing that, so his family could see him play. He's a transfer from Alabama, so good things there as far as that goes. I thought Shane Lee, who I think earlier in the game he dropped an INT, and he was able to grab one, running back for a touchdown. I like Gentry's ability as far as moving side to side. His lateral quickness is really good. It's very long. If you use him as a blitzer, you're gonna get a lot of batted down passes. He also, if he's chasing the quarterback down, when he lays out, he's able to run the quarterback down and get him down. So Kalen Bullock as well, played played a pretty good game as well. So I mean, defensively again, USC was up to the task today. No problems there. Offensively, this just keeps spread. I mean, they did a good job of spreading the ball out, spreading the ball from a lot of different pieces here. I think the play people who are anti Jordan Addison coming to USC are going to say, "Hey, this is what I was talking about: 5 catches, 54 yards, 2 touchdowns." But if he's playing on Pittsburgh, maybe he has more. Maybe he is able to get double that outcome in a game because they're just force feeding the football because they don't really have anybody else. Well, obviously that's just a conversation for nothing for something else. Again, don't listen to the mainstream media. Don't listen to the people who 24/7 Sports is pretty good, but the people who are anti USC, anti Jordan Addison coming over is going to be all over anything that they can negative wise for USC and Jordan Addison. I thought it was interesting that Jordan Addison had a there was an Instagram post and they were talking about why he wears number 3 and everything like that. And it was interesting that he talked about his favorite receiver was Calvin Ridley, and he kind of models this game after Calvin Ridley, and it's funny that because he plays exactly like Calvin Ridley, like he reminds me of Cal. That's the comp, the draft comp. I've had a draft comp for Jordan Addison, it would be Calvin Ridley. I mean, because he's great. Because Calvin Ridley is great in the red zone, can run all the routes. I mean, can make you put him man coverage, like he can make people look stupid. It's funny that Calvin Ridley is his favorite player, favorite wide receiver, guy he models his game after. It's just cool. It was just cool to kind of hear that because that's the comp when you talk about the draft next year. That's the comp you're going to see Jordan Addison and Calvin Ridley, who should be in the NFL. It should be in the NFL playing, not sitting out for a year. Y'all got to figure that out. But that's the NFL. And who cares about that part of it? I thought that on special teams, if you're gonna kick short, again, if you're gonna kick short, you got to have really good coverage. And there were times where the coverage was pretty good. Time the coverage is pretty bad. For me, I don't mind mixing it up, but for the most part, just kick it out of the back of the end zone. Like force them to go the length of the field. But the changeup, the directional kicking to kind of kick it short in the corners. There were times where the ball was they were able to return the ball right to like the 30 or 40-yard line. You can't have that. So if you're gonna kick it short, and everybody on special teams knows it's gonna be short, you have to be able to make you got to be able to make those plays, get that ball carrier down, and do what the short kick is intended for, which is to back people up in the field position game. So they have to go more than 25 yards and to try to score. The ball comes out, ball comes out on the 25. You want it, at the 15, 10, things like that. So maybe you get a safety, maybe you get a defensive turnover in that situation. So first time seeing Caleb Williams play live. Impressions of Caleb Williams. I will say, as far as full command of the offense, he has that. I mean, check mark, right there. I mean, he definitely knows this offense left and right. I think one of the things that I was really impressed with was there were times where they just had a standard rush, 4-man rush with Rice, and they also had a rush where it was they brought only 3 and dropped everybody into coverage, which leads to him holding the ball a little bit longer. Routes were not developing down the field, and he's able to scramble and move around and always keep his head up while he's doing that. Like, and that's the thing. Like, I never saw that helmet drop where he's looking at the lineman. He just uses his peripheral vision to kind of just like manage his way through the pocket. Was able to run right or left. There was a play where he ran out of the pocket. to his left, and one of the defensive linemen tried to really hit him right before he got out of bounds, and he didn't even fall or anything. He just like kind of shrugged it off and took the hit. Showed a little toughness there. And I thought there was one time where he scrambled out to the right, and he talked about the pinpoint accuracy, which is accuracy is another thing I was impressed with. He had Travis Dye where there was like this much space on the sideline. First down USC. Sorry, I think it was a like a 7-yard gain USC, which led to a first down and a touchdown drive. So kind of kept the chains moving there. So he has that down packed. I like that a lot. The footwork was good. I mean, he has that ability if he's in open field to make you miss. He's not a guy who's just gonna, just not a statue back there. I thought that was something that you have to kind of commend him for. Like he's not that kind of guy. He can make people move. He will, when you're giving the ball, on that read option putting in the belly of the running back all the time. He had a couple of times where he held on to it, took it outside, and almost had a touchdown run. Barely got nicked on his ankles by our defender, and just had command and moved the football very well. But I think the biggest thing I take away from it is just command, his ability to just look down the field. I mean, just no matter what's going around, no matter what's going on, I kind of equate the NFL pocket or college pocket and having pocket presence to almost like trying to get out of a house when the house is on fire. Like he's just, I mean, it just you can see that some guys look at the rush. Some guys, are like, oh my god, what am I gonna do? His head was totally downfield, waiting for something to break open. If it wasn't there, he takes off and gets positive yardage. I mean, that's what you really want to do, and you want to see him continue to do that. Um, and the only thing I didn't get to see this week was kind of that deep ball action. But I mean, the way Rice was not going to give them a play. If you were there, USC was going to make a pass play in this game. It was going to be from improv, and also from not being able to beat them over the top. They just had safeties back. They were not going to let somebody beat them over the top. So that's where Taj Washington had some of his plays. Mario Williams had some of his plays underneath. Those underneath routes were open, and that's where he took advantage of it. Like I'm not gonna like that's good quarterback play, right? Why am I gonna I'm not gonna force it. If you're gonna give me a 13, 14, 15-yard gain with the athletes that USC has at wide receiver and at running back, I'm gonna take that because not only does I'm getting the first down, but they can take that to the house. Even though you're playing, off coverage, I'm still gonna be able to take that. So, um, pass protection broke down a little bit, once or twice, but besides that, they were pretty much flawless. As far as that goes, I did like I said, there was a drive late in the third quarter. I think it was third quarter when Austin let me see if I can find that third quarter. Was the third quarter we had that run? Whereas Austin Jones had that touchdown run. I mean, touchdown run made it 58-14. And that's when and that's when everybody started kind of leaving the building at that point because it was pretty much over. But even before that, but you can see him saying to himself, "Hey, look at Riley. I'm not gonna. His core principle is to run the football. He wants to run the football. He's not going to shy away from running the football. And he was in that whole drive. You can see him just handing it off, handing it off, handing it off. Not only just to kind of run clock and do what football teams do, and when we're up by such a large margin, but kind of set the tone that I'm not pass happy. Like I'll pass it because it's a passing game, but I want to be able to run the football down people's throat. Um, and they were able to do that. And I thought that was cool to see them just run the football down the team's throat. And good to see a team good to see them just absolutely destroy an opponent. I mean, it's just good destroy bad teams. They're there for the check. Yeah, Rice is there for the check. Like, don't make no bones about it. Like, hey, thanks for that check, USC. We appreciate y'all. I maybe I maybe these guys can go out there and surf a little bit before they get to go back to Texas. But that's what they're there for. So overall, I think we can be overly critical at times, but I do think the one thing that is like they just have to avoid. USC has to really avoid the injuries on the defensive end. I think if they can stay healthy on the defense, then yes, then you're going to see some really nice things from this team um, going forward because they're going to score points. It's hard. It's going to be hard to keep them from scoring 30 to 40 points, if not more. It's going to be hard to see them do that. Sorry, early morning recording, and it's and I'm trying to not spill my coffee all over myself. I think the good job so far, but but that's what I see. I mean, they just have to stay healthy defensively. If they can do that, then you know, rep- I'm not saying replacements are on the way, but the recruits are on the way. I mean, the talented, really good, depth pieces are coming in the next couple of recruiting classes. They can just hold this together. They can they can might possibly be able to get in. Listen, if USC or Notre Dame, one of those teams, Penn State, one of these big programs are close to the playoff, they're gonna get the votes to go in, even if it's a year where they're not good enough, and they kind of know they want eyeballs there. The committees, the ESPNs, the Fox, everybody wants the eyeballs, and USC brings eyeballs to the TV. So I thought overall, um, I would give the offense, if I'm going to grade the offense, I give the offense an A. I give the defense a B plus because I'm just a hard grader. I just don't like when people line up and run the football on you when they go heavy. Um, and I would say special teams was I would say special teams probably B minus as far as that goes. Game ball, you gotta give it to the coach. Without him, it's not possible. I mean, you don't have the collectives, you don't have all this other stuff going on. Goodness, it's good that he, obviously we are happy that at USC that he came over and was able to leave Oklahoma, come to USC, and he brought a lot of talent with him. I mean, and a lot of people entered that transfer portal and were able to come over and help USC become uh relevant again. Help them become a really good football team again. And I think that's what we're all looking for the Trojans to be a really good football team. And I think they're on their way. I think they're on their way, folks. Rome wasn't built in a day. And neither was Troy. So I'll be excited to see that. Also, shout out to the band. Like I said, the USC band, they weren't in their normal uniforms, obviously, because it was 110 in the shade. But I will say that they did a great job. It was fun. It was fun hearing the chants and all that stuff. It was cool to see all that live and in person and kind of talk to some of the fans. Um, you know, and hopefully get some, get some people from that. We pass out a lot of stuff. Well, pass out a lot of flyers and stickers and everything like that there or whatever. So cool to see that as well. So USC destroys Rice. So USC destroys Rice, and they'll take their talents to to Stanford now, and Stanford's going to be the focus. Kind of will be the focus of this of next week. That game will be, of course, on ABC. As soon as it's funny, as soon as a certain team gets relevant, all of a sudden the national audience wants to chime in. So it's a 4:30 game on the West Coast. So 7:30 on the East Coast. So those East Coasters who complain about West Coast games being so close and oh no, I can't see USC. I can't stay up late. All that stuff like that. They'll be able to stay up, they'll be able to watch that game at 7:30 on the East Coast, which is for voting for all those things like that. It's important. I mean, I even often said that SC should play some games at 9:30 in the morning. Just kind of build it up as kind of a showcase. A kind of a showcase for that. I mean, that'd be kind of cool to see them play early in the morning, just so I don't hear the East Coast foolishness about them playing late all the time, because they can't stay up late. They can't stay up past their bedtime on the East Coast um to see the Trojans. So good game. USC wins 66-14. Again, Stanford next week. This coming Saturday. I would say that the cadence for this show is going to be kind of a review of the game. The first podcast, kind of a little video breakdown of some nice plays that I liked in this game from USC, and maybe some trouble spots as well. Something to look at, because like I said, we don't do rose colored glasses over here. We do real stuff over here. We kind of give you both sides of things that we're concerned about and things that we really like about the Trojans. So we'll do that, and then we do preview. So I think Friday we'll do a preview. Middle of the week we'll do a breakdown, what we saw, and then we'll do a breakdown of Stanford and what to expect from USC at Stanford. I mean, at Stanford is going to be, it's going to be fun, man. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. It's gonna be fun. We'll leave it. We'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that. It'll be fun. I'm not. I know a lot of people are concerned about this game. I know people are really concerned about this game, and I'm just kind of saying I'm not, because I just don't think they have the horses to hang with USC. But on the road, college football, if you watched LSU and Florida State last night on ABC, I tell you that's a game where college football is very unpredictable. But I do think USC is gonna go to Palo Alto and do their thing against the Cardinal. But that will be another time. We will talk about that when we preview the matchup. Next podcast, we will break down some of the good things, the offense, defense, from this game, and we will talk to you next time here on the Student Body Right USC podcast. Peace. Oh, I forgot. Fight on.